Hi there. Cardano is up by about 3.5% this week, even though it's still range bound between the orange key level of 0.327 down to the purple key level of 0.258, as we have been discussing for a couple of weeks. There is something that's absolutely changing. Let's dive into the chart and see what's going on and see whether there are any whales move. If you're new to my session, I've covered the Wyckoff stage, trend change risk, as well as key price levels. These are education content, not financial advice. If we look at the weekly chart of Cardano, we see clearly that the paper hands diamond hands testing period is still continuing. And more importantly, it has been 4 weeks that the price closes below the red key level of 0.280. Of course, there are still 25 hours left for this week's candle, but looking at the price actions previously, the bulls are still getting a very heavy hammer when they try to challenge the 0.327 level. So that's why in the beginning, I said it's still range bound between the orange and the purple. However, if we look at the volume, it's actually slightly increasing. When we get to the daily chart, we'll get a more detailed look. So as of now, from a big picture point of view, using the Wyckoff method, it may be stabilizing at this range, playing out until the moment it finds sufficient strength, meaning sufficient buyers and liquidity to once again push the price back to above the green key level of 0.406, best to challenge the 0.447, because during the accumulation cycle of Wyckoff, that's the typical definition for a sign of strength, a bunch of white candlesticks pushing the price back to the level of the trading range top, and combined with higher than average volume. That's what we're looking forward to see while it is stabilizing around this range. The situation in the Middle East and the economic data that's coming out from the US in the next week or two is going to be critical. Whether the price is going to go lower than the purple key level and go challenge the 0.223 blue key level once again, like what they did 3 weeks ago, as well as during the accumulation cycle back in 2003 period. Okay? If none of those bad news happen, the base case is that it continues to travel along this purple and orange. If there's any positivity, that's going to drive the price to once again go challenge the yellow key level first, and potentially eventually the light blue key level that we talk about. That signals we're getting into at least the middle stage of the accumulation cycle. Going to the daily chart, what's interesting over here, when I said in the beginning, is that 2 days back, the price get a higher than average volume, actually 2 to 3 times higher than average of the past probably 20 days. Getting above this yellow intermediate level of 30 cents. Why we have a line over here? Look at mid-February, beginning of February. Those points all get rejection at that level. If we look to the left, we can also find some hints back in the past. So that's why, even with this, it still gets the rejection. However, today clearly signaled that there's very strong support when the price tried to challenge the purple key level, unlike the previous period. This long wick is going to set the stage for the next few days, potentially or likely re-challenging this yellow dashed line and even this orange key level of 0.327. It is getting more likely because of this higher than average volume today, as well as the long wick from the bottom. Alright, let's hope that it is going to happen in a way that a potential uptrend channel is forming. Okay, some people would say, hey, this is like a bear flag, it is going to come down. It may be, that's why I said, the news that are going to come out, or the situation in the Middle East is going to be key. If the world digests it as, no, we all know it's going to count, there's no surprise, and the economic data in the US favors more liquidity or more risk-on sentiment, then you don't have to worry about this dropping that early, at least for a near term. They may even boost the price to challenge the orange key level, like I said. But if it's the other way around, the world is selling the news as if it's the end, or at least it's going to be a global economic shock because of Iran closing the strait, then that's a totally different story. People may move their liquidity to cash a potential spike in oil price instead of coming to crypto. Okay, it's just the way I see it, but things could happen in such a way. Not that it is a certainty, but we certainly have to keep an eye on how those things are going to develop. So if you're interested to access these sessions 2 days earlier, join the other members. Here's another video for you. Thank you.